Speak Daily English. Real English every day.
Welcome back to Speak Daily English, the podcast that helps you speak English naturally every day. I'm Anna.
And I'm David. Today we're tackling a big question: how to improve English speaking skills. If you've ever felt stuck, shy, or just want to sound more fluent, this episode is for you.
We're sharing practical steps you can start using today, plus our own stories of learning and teaching English. And don't miss our bonus tips at the end, including the best resources and apps to improve English speaking fast.
Let's jump in and help you become a more confident English speaker. Anna, before we jump into the methods, why do you think so many people struggle with speaking English, even when their reading and listening are pretty good?
That's such a good question, David. I think the biggest issue is fear. People are so worried about making mistakes or sounding wrong that they just don't speak at all.
Exactly. And here's the thing. In the US, people actually appreciate when you try to speak English, even if it's not perfect. Americans are generally very patient and helpful.
Plus, let's be honest, native speakers make mistakes too. I say and like way too much. The goal isn't perfection, it's communication.
Another big issue is that people study English like it's a math problem. They focus so much on grammar rules that they forget language is meant to be spoken, not just analyzed.
Right. And they don't practice enough in real situations. You can't learn to swim by reading about swimming, and you can't learn to speak by just studying textbooks. Okay, let's get into our first method. David, what does this mean exactly?
This is huge, Anna. Too many people wait until they feel ready to start speaking. But here's the secret: you'll never feel ready until you start.
Even if you only know 10 words, use those 10 words. Say, hello, my name is I like coffee. Simple sentences are still speaking practice.
I love this approach because it builds confidence immediately. When I was learning Spanish, I started ordering food in Spanish from day one. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But the waiter understood me, and that felt amazing.
And here's a practical tip. Talk to yourself throughout the day. Describe what you're doing. I'm making breakfast. I'm checking my email. It sounds silly, but it works.
Yes, and don't worry about grammar at first. Focus on getting your ideas across. Grammar can be improved later, but confidence needs to be built from the beginning.
Method number 2 is something I call the mirror technique. Anna, have you tried this?
Oh yes, at first I felt so weird talking to myself in the mirror, but it's actually incredibly helpful. You can see your mouth movements, your facial expressions, and practice making eye contact.
Exactly. When you speak English, your mouth needs to move differently than it does for your native language. Watching yourself helps you notice these differences.
I recommend starting with just 5 minutes a day. Pick a topic, maybe your weekend plans or your favorite movie, and just talk about it to your reflection.
And here's a pro tip. Record yourself while doing this. You might notice things in the recording that you didn't catch while speaking. Maybe you're speaking too fast or certain sounds need work.
The mirror technique is also great for building confidence. If you can speak comfortably to yourself, speaking to others becomes much easier. Method 3 is shadowing, and this one is a game changer. David, can you explain what shadowing means?
Excited. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and try to repeat what they're saying at the same time, like you're their shadow. You're matching their rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation.
I love using YouTube videos for this. Find a speaker you like, maybe someone from a TED Talk or a news anchor, and play a short segment. Listen once, then play it again and speak along with them.
The key is to focus on how they sound, not just what they're saying. Notice where they pause, which words they stress, how their voice goes up and down.
This is how you develop that natural English rhythm. You know how sometimes you can tell someone isn't a native speaker even when their grammar is perfect? It's usually because the rhythm is off.
Start with slower speakers, maybe educational videos or podcasts. As you get better, you can shadow faster speech like movies or casual conversations.
And don't worry if you can't keep up at first. Even attempting to shadow helps train your mouth and your ear.
This next method is probably the most challenging, but also the most transformative. Thinking in English. Anna, this was huge for your students, right?
Absolutely. Most people translate in their heads. They think in their native language, then translate to English. But this makes speaking slow and unnatural.
When you think directly in English, your responses become much faster and more natural.
But how do you actually do this?
Practical? Start small. When you see a red car, think red car in English, not in your native language first. When you're hungry, think I'm hungry directly in English.
I tell my students to narrate their day in English. Now I'm brushing my teeth. Now I'm getting dressed. It feels weird at first, but it trains your brain.
And when you don't know a word in English, don't immediately switch to your native language. Try to describe it in English instead. This builds your ability to work around vocabulary gaps.
This takes time, maybe months, but once you start thinking in English, speaking becomes so much more natural and effortless. Method 5 is all about real-world practice. You have to use English in actual situations, not just in your bedroom or classroom.
This is where the magic happens. All the practice in the world doesn't compare to one real conversation where something actually depends on your English.
If you're in the US, this is easier. Order coffee in English, ask for directions, make small talk with cashiers. These low-pressure situations are perfect for practice.
And if you're not in an English-speaking country, get creative. Join online conversation groups, find language exchange partners, or even call English-speaking businesses with questions.
I had one student who would call different hotels and ask about their rates just to practice phone conversations. It worked. Her phone English became excellent.
The key is to put yourself in situations where you have to communicate. When there's a real purpose behind your English, you'll find ways to make yourself understood.
And remember, most people want to help. Don't be embarrassed to say, "Sorry, I'm still learning English." People are usually very patient and encouraging.
Method 6 might be uncomfortable at first, but it's incredibly effective. Record yourself speaking English every day.
I know. Most people hate hearing their own voice. But this is one of the fastest ways to improve your English speaking skills.
When you're speaking, you can't really hear yourself objectively. But when you listen to a recording, you notice everything: pronunciation issues, grammar mistakes, places where you hesitate.
I recommend starting with just 2 minutes a day. Pick a simple topic like what I did today or my favorite food and just talk about it.
Use your phone's voice recorder. It's that simple. After a week, listen to your first recording and your most recent one. You'll be amazed at the improvement.
And here's a bonus tip: transcribe your recordings. Write down exactly what you said. This helps you see patterns in your mistakes and track your progress.
Over time, you can make your topics more complex. Maybe describe a movie you watched or explain your opinion about something. The key is consistency.
Our final method is a mindset shift. Focus on fluency, not perfection. David, this is so important for learners to understand.
This is huge, Anna. So many people get stuck because they want every sentence to be grammatically perfect. But fluency means being able to communicate your ideas smoothly, even with some mistakes.
Think about it. Would you rather speak with someone who says, "Yesterday I go to store and buy some foods" smoothly and confidently, or someone who takes 30 seconds to construct the perfect sentence?
Exactly. The first person communicated their idea clearly, even with grammar mistakes. The second person might be more accurate, but the conversation feels unnatural.
I tell my students, aim for 80% accuracy and 100% confidence. You can always improve your grammar later, but if you don't build fluency first, you'll always sound robotic.
And here's the thing, native speakers make mistakes too. We use incomplete sentences, we say we sometimes use the wrong word. Perfect English doesn't exist in real conversations.
So give yourself permission to make mistakes. Focus on getting your message across and celebrate when people understand you, even if your English wasn't perfect.
All right, bonus time. Anna, what are your favorite absent resources for improving English speaking skills?
Oh, I have so many. For pronunciation, I love Elsa Speak and Sounds Pronunciation app. They give you immediate feedback on how you sound.
For conversation practice, Hello Talk and Tandem are amazing. You can find native English speakers who want to learn your language. It's like a language exchange in your pocket.
And for listening and shadowing, I recommend Rachel's English on YouTube and the podcast All Ears English. They focus specifically on natural American English.
Don't forget about SpeechLink. You can record yourself and get feedback from real teachers. And Google Assistant or Siri are great for quick pronunciation checks.
For daily practice, try the app English Speaking Practice. It gives you conversation topics and lets you record responses. Perfect for building speaking habits.
The key is to use a mix of these tools. Don't rely on just one app. Variety keeps your practice interesting and effective.
Before we wrap up, let's talk about the biggest mistakes people make when trying to improve their English speaking skills.
Number 1, waiting until you feel confident to start speaking. Confidence comes from practice, not the other way around.
Mistake number 2, focusing too much on accent. Your accent is part of who you are. Focus on being clear and understandable, not on sounding like a native speaker.
And mistake number 3, practicing alone all the time. You need real conversations with real people to truly improve your speaking skills.
Oh, and here's a big one, comparing yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. Focus on your progress, not on how fast someone else is improving.
Finally, don't give up after a few weeks. Improving English speaking skills takes time, usually months, not days. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories.
Wow, we covered a lot today. David, what's your main takeaway for our listeners?
The most important thing is to start today. Pick one method from this episode, maybe the mirror technique or recording yourself, and try it for just 5 minutes.
Exactly. You don't need to do everything at once. Choose one method, practice it for a week, then add another. Small, consistent steps lead to big improvements in your English speaking skills.
And remember, every conversation is practice. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Be kind to yourself and celebrate your progress.
We want to hear from you. Which method are you going to try first? Leave a comment and let us know. And if you try one of these methods, tell us how it goes.
If this episode helped you, please hit that like button, subscribe to Speak Daily English, and share this with anyone who wants to improve their English speaking skills. Your support helps us create more content like this.
And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. We release new content every week to help you speak English more naturally and confidently.
Thanks for spending time with us today. Remember, you've got this. Your English speaking skills will improve with practice and patience.
Until next time, keep speaking, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. This is Anna
And David from Speak Daily English. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Speak Daily English. Real English every day.